Yesterday we did some sharing. We did not continue with any material. Last time we stopped reading at this whole paragraph, which Wei Ken is not here, but he mentioned he really loved the wording of this paragraph. Plastered over with conceptual paints, overlaid with interpretation, and all of this. Mindfulness is thus a matter not so much of doing, but of undoing. Not thinking, not judging, not associating, not planning, not imagining, not wishing. Our normal modes of interference, our normal way, all these doings of ours are ways the mind manipulates experience and tries to establish its dominance. Mindfulness undoes the knots and tangles of these doings by simply noting. It does nothing but note, watching each occasion of experiences as it arises, stands, and passes away. I gave the example of itch on the skin, where the itch will arise at some occasion, and then it will stay for a while. Eventually, if you keep noting the itch, it will eventually subside and eventually passes away. That's a little bit about this paragraph. Any questions or comments before I continue to the next paragraph? If not, let's continue reading. Mindfulness exercises a powerful grounding function. It anchors the mind securely in the present so it does not float away into the past and future with their memories, regrets, fears, and hopes. The mind without mindfulness is sometimes compared to a pumpkin. The mind established in mindfulness to a stone. A pumpkin placed on the surface of a pond soon floats away and always remains on the water's surface. But a stone does not float away. It stays where it is put and at once sinks into the water until it reaches bottom. Similarly, when mindfulness is strong, the mind stays with its object and penetrates its characteristics deeply. It does not wander and merely skim the surface as the mind destitute of mindfulness does. Firstly, let's take a look where is this from. Probably it's from a sutta. Oh, it's from a commentary. Commentary to
Visuddhimagga.
Visuddhimagga. Okay. Yeah, Visuddhimagga. Thanks, I can. I think it was some Theravadan literature. Yeah. It's I think like a very thick book, but I have never really read it.
In Chinese, it's the 清净道论.
清净道论. This paragraph is more about the simile, the analogy that we can visualize using both a pumpkin and a stone. If you put a pumpkin or something like whatever that can float in the water, if you put it on the here it says the surface of a pond, but you can imagine any pond or a sea. Sea is probably too extreme, but let's imagine a pond, and then you put a pumpkin. Whenever the pond starts to move around, the wave around, the pumpkin will follow the pond. It will follow the wave of the ponds. That is how the mind destitute of mindfulness does. Right? The mind lacking mindfulness is like a pumpkin, going up and down, riding the waves. Okay, let's define destitute here. Yeah. Extremely poor and lacking the means to provide for oneself. So that's how the mind lacking of mindfulness looks like if you imagine it visually. But if you're mindful, if you're like a stone, it does not float away. It stays where it is put, and at once sinks into the water until it reaches bottom. This is how like the mind stays with the object and penetrates its characteristics deeply, not just wander and merely skim the surface, as mentioned here. Quite a good simile, I think. So, any comments to add on? Do you guys know any other simile maybe? Okay, if not, then let's continue. Sister Singhui, would you like to read?
Mindfulness facilitates the achievement of both serenity and insight. It can lead to either deep concentration or wisdom, depending on the mode in which it is applied. Merely a slight shift in the mode of application can spell the differences between the course the contemplative process takes, whether it descends to a deeper levels of inner calm, accumulating in the stages of absorption, the jhanas, or whether it strips away the veils of delusion to arrive at penetrating insight. To lead to the stages of serenity, the primary chore of mindfulness is to keep the mind on the object, free from strain. Mindfulness serves as the guide charged with the responsibility of making sure that the mind does not slip away from the object to lose itself in random, undirected thoughts. It also keeps watch over the factors stirring in the mind, catching the hindrances beneath their camouflages and expelling them before they can cause harm. To lead to insight and the realizations of wisdom, mindfulness is exercised in a more differentiated manner. Its task in this phase of practice is to observe, to notice, to discern phenomena without utmost precision until their fundamental characteristics are brought to light.
Thanks, Sister Singhui. This paragraph is like an introduction to what's more to come in the next few weeks or months. Mindfulness facilitates the achievements of both serenity and insight. It can lead to deep concentration or wisdom, depending on the mode in which it is applied. Merely a slight shift in the mode of application can spell the difference between the course the contemplative process takes, whether it descends to deeper levels of inner calm, culminating in the stage of absorption, the jhanas, or whether instead it strips away the veils of delusion to arrive at penetrating insight. Let's see. Yeah, this whole paragraph let's see, to lead the stages of serenity, the primary chore of mindfulness is to keep the mind on the object free from straying, making sure that the mind does not slip away from the object, losing itself in random, undirected thoughts. Also keeps watch over the factors steering in the mind, catching the hindrances which we explored in the previous chapter, right effort, if you can still recall, beneath their camouflage and expelling them before they can cause harm. That is briefly how mindfulness can lead to, here, back again to the first line, deep concentration. To lead to insight or wisdom, the second way, the realizations of wisdom, mindfulness is exercised in a more differentiated manner. Its task in this phase of practice is to observe, to note, to discern phenomena with utmost precision until their fundamental characteristics are brought to light. This paragraph would seem cryptic for now because it will be explained much further down below. Yeah. So if you are confused right now, you're not alone. We will uncover what this means one by one in much detail if we keep reading. But so far, any specific thing that you would like to comment or questions? Okay, if not, then let's continue reading first. Sister Xinghui, would you like to nominate next person to read?
Sister Shomei.
Okay. Right mindfulness is cultivated through a practice called the Four Foundations of Mindfulness, Chattaro Satipatthana, the mindful contemplation of four objective spheres, the body, feelings, states of mind, and phenomena. As the Buddha explains, and what monks is right mindfulness? Herein, a monk dwells contemplating the body in the body, ardent, clearly comprehending and mindful, having put away covetousness and grief concerning the world. He dwells contemplating feelings in feelings, states of mind in states of mind, phenomena in phenomena, ardent, clearly comprehending and mindful, having put away the covetousness and grief concerning the world.
Thanks, Sister Shomi. Okay, firstly, let's take a look where this is from. Footnote 51. Sometimes the word Satipatthana is translated foundation of mindfulness with emphasis on the objective side. Sometimes application of mindfulness with emphasis on the subjective side. Both explanations are allowed by the text and the commentaries. Footnote 52, Digha Nikaya 22. Let's go back. Have you read this sutta before? This passage is quite a stock passage for mindfulness. If you keep reading the sutta, you will encounter these lines quite frequently. And what monks is right mindfulness? Herein a monk dwells contemplating the body in the body, firstly, ardent, clearly comprehending and mindful, having put away covetousness and grief concerning the world. Sometimes the newer translation could be slightly different, but you will notice the same pattern. The first one is body in the body. The second one is feelings in feelings. Third one, states of mind in states of mind. The fourth and the last one, phenomena in phenomena. If you don't know what are these for, don't worry, you're not alone. Let's keep on reading to find out. Okay, Sister Shomi, would you like to nominate next person to read?
Sister Aikyam?
I Kim or Saikyam? Right? Who did you say?
Sorry, she's not there. Sister Aikyam, sorry.
Sister I Kim.
Okay. Starting from the Buddha says, right?
Yes.
The Buddha says that the four foundations of mindfulness form the only way that leads to the attainment of purity, to the overcoming of sorrow and lamentation, to the end of pain and grief, to the entering upon the right path and the realization of Nibbana. They are called the only way, Ekayano Mago, not for the purpose of setting forth a narrow dogmatism, but to indicate that attainment of liberation can only issue from the penetrating contemplation of the field of experience undertaken in the practice of right mindfulness. Thank you.
Oh, I'm muted.
Oh,
Thanks,
okay.
Saikim. Quite a bold claim by the Buddha. The four foundations of mindfulness form the only way here that leads to the attainment of purity, to the overcoming of sorrow, lamentation, to the end of pain and grief, to the entering upon the right path and the realization of Nibbana. Let's take a look at the footnote. From the same source, Digha Nikaya 22, page 61 of this book, Word of the Buddha. Yeah, some people would, saying politically correct way that there are many ways, there are many roads to Rome. Yeah. There are many ways to Rome, but the Buddha says no. The four foundations of mindfulness is the only way. Why did he say it's the only way? They are called the only way, Ekayano Mago, not for the purpose of setting forth a narrow dogmatism. Let's define dogmatism here. Yeah. The tendency to lay down principles as undeniably true without consideration of evidence or the opinions of others. It's not this way. It's not because of this. Yeah, just to be very clear. Yeah, not. But to indicate that the attainment of liberation can only issue from the penetrating contemplation of the field of experience undertaken in the practice of right mindfulness. Okay, I think this is a good time to stop, even though we have one more paragraph. But one more paragraph, the next paragraph will deal with the contemplation of the body, which is the first of the four foundations of mindfulness. So I think we can stop here. Any questions or comments from any of you? Yes, Singing.
So as I was watching the past video, I thought the sharing has been quite interesting about the practice they have about being mindful, thinking about our thoughts. So I thought that by having all this practice, it actually links back to what we have covered earlier. Like when we practice about being more mindful, it actually because Thursday we also attended another talk by Sister Sujaya about asking us to don't always be mindful lah. Don't focus, not look at our own thoughts. But I think knowing is one thing, but making the decision not to get drawn into it is different. Yeah, so it's like we then say, oh, like you have mentioned, right, look at the Facebook, So we know that we're watching and but we can just watching all these things so entertaining, right? So no doubt we know that it's like maybe not the best use of our time, but it's just entertaining. We just want to continue to do it because it's so pleasurable, right? So maybe it links me to think about if we don't have the right view in the first place to know that this is no good for us and we continue to think on it, then we will continue because we have the wrong view. And subsequently also, if we want to stop, put a stop to it, we have to put in the right effort, right? Yeah. So if it's like we are lazy, I must think about it, I must stop. Might as well just continue, it's so fun. So we have to put in that right effort to also make ourselves want to stop it. Yeah, so it's like we can see, I can slowly see that all interrelated. And if we really don't knowing is one thing. We are not just learning and knowing, but if you don't really experience it and don't really understand, then we just continue. Yeah.
Maybe allow me to also just jump in on what Sister Singhui is sharing. My personal experience was that, I think what Sister Singhui said is resonates with me because it's more than just the word mindful. It can be very difficult trying to be just that. But then I subsequently heard quite a few teachings by Ajahn Viradhamu, who actually minimizes his use of the word mindful to growing the awareness inside us. He emphasizes on us that word awareness a great deal, including taking refuge in awareness. I found that easier to internalize because it requires me to look at what I'm thinking, the nonsensical thoughts I'm having, the fact that while you are talking, I'm looking at the phone, that kind of thing. And that awareness helps me to get inside myself better, if you know what I mean.
Thanks for sharing, Sister Singhui and Sister Shomi. Just like to quickly comment what Sister Singhui was referring to was this one. Sharing by Sister Sayalei Sujata. Is it a little bit too small? But this one is organized by Dharma Buds, the people involved. If you know Louis, Onchit, Li Hui, and Hui Wen, those bunch of people. Yeah. So they invited her, Sayalei Sujata. She has been a nun for probably around 20 years, somewhere around there. So I know her as well. She's a wonderful nun. So if you have the chance, try to attend her talk. She sometimes gives talks in Buddhist Fellowship and Buddhist Fellowship Youth as well. Yeah. I know her through Buddhist Fellowship. That's one. Yeah, and sometimes I chat with her as well. Yeah. She does emphasize a lot on mindfulness. I think this is, he tries to make a lot of mindfulness movement, and she is very active in volunteering as well, sending necessities to Philippines, the last one that I can sort out. Yeah. So if you have the chance, try to attend if you can. All these announcements were in the group, so you can check the past photos. So glad that Sister Singhui attended this. I wasn't able to attend because I have other appointments, but I try to attend the next one. And what Sister Shomei mentioned is Luangpo Viradamo. I heard many good things about him. I heard he's a really wonderful teacher. So if you can, go to YouTube and watch his past videos. Yeah. I've arranged to watch together once. I think Sai Kiang was there. I think everyone loved it too. The one that I showed, let me show very quickly. Share screen. This is one. Talk by Ajahn Wiradamo at Stanford University. This is the one that I arranged to watch together last time. I think Lin Toy was there too, but she's not here today. I share this in the chat. And any recommendation from Sister Shromi? Anything you find useful from Longpo Viradamo? YouTube videos maybe? Specific videos you want to share?
I actually find his guided meditation very helpful. But I think it's you know, for many of you who are a lot more seasoned than I am as a meditator, you probably don't need it so much. But basically, I just like his style of teaching. But I then realized after exposing myself to a few of them, to a few of the Ajahns, and now reading this book that we read every morning, I realized that somehow the Ang Mo turned monks use the mastery of their language to communicate that what we need to know. And so I find it so very, very, very helpful. So for instance, this book, right, Bhikkhu Bodhi, first time I touch it because of all of you, actually it's very difficult to read because his sentences are all very, very long. But yet when you read it, you can feel it. You can understand the power of his words. And that's what I call a good teacher. So thanks for recommending the book.
Sadhu, really glad you find it rewarding at least. And even though it's hard work, like what Brother Waken mentioned. I really like your point about these people, the Westerners. They are really good with their languages and they can express themselves precisely and methodically. And in that way, I feel like we can learn much better in the way they express themselves with the mastery of their languages. Teachers like Bhikkhu Bodhi, Longpo Viradamo, all of you must know Ajahn Brahm. It's very, yes.
Ajahn Jayasaru.
Ajahn Jayasaru. Oh, that's interesting. It's the one Ajahn that I haven't listened to, but maybe I will try based on your recommendation.
And if you have a friend and if you know somebody, I don't have it with me because I gave it away. There is a book that he compiled with nuggets. It's like question and answers and short answers to basic questions on Buddhism. And it is available apparently in every hotel room in Thailand. It's called Within and Without. But if you can get hold of the book, it's really worth reading. Not even just for the ones who are not familiar with Buddhism that you want to share with, but it is also useful for us to capture how they answer the question. And I think it makes it easier for us to explain to others.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. That's cool to know. Yeah. So I just mentioned quickly some of my favorite teachers who explains really well. Firstly, a nun, Venerable Thupten Children. She explains really well, I think. Jolene was not here, but I think she's quite active with
Yeah,
rooted in children's class.
Rusty.
My personal favorite is Ajahn Brahmali, and of course Bhikkhu Bodhi as well. Ajahn Brahm, if you like his humor. Who else? Longpo Viradamo. Yeah. Some people connect with different teachers, so you can try to listen to. And if you find one that suits you, you can stick with that one. But of course, don't shun away other teachers as well. It's good to have multiple teachers. Yeah. Okay. Any of you would like to share anything? Any of your favorite teachers, maybe? If you share, like, so may share Ajahn Jayasaro. Maybe in the future, I will take a look at his sharing. Yeah. Any of you have? Maybe Shifu.
If you like some of the Ajah's books and teaching, one book you can download free of charge is called Stillness Flowing. It's on the life of Ajahn Chah. And I must say that, okay, so it's like 800 pages long, and I'm still like struggling through it. But I think a lot of times Ajahn Chah's experience as related by Ajahn Jayasaro in that thick book is, it helps us identify, it resonates with our difficulties, our personal difficulty. Then you tell yourself, hey, even Ajahn Chah has those problems. Even Ajahn Chah fell in love with a woman. You know, what more us?
Yeah. But that's very good to know. Is stillness flowing? I'll take a look. Okay, maybe I type it down for others. Stillness flowing, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, that's interesting. Any other of you would like to recommend anything? You know, probably your first Buddhist books. Any talks that you say you would recommend to anyone? Okay. Well, you can think about it and you can share with us next time. You can send me, and then I can share it to the rest in the next session. So if not, I'm sorry for going over time, but it was a good sharing today. Let's do a dedication. 烟消三障
三藏除
愿
愿的智慧在内内，
普愿罪障悉消除，
是
是常行菩萨道。阿弥陀佛。Till we meet again, may we be guided by the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Have a restful Saturday ahead. Saiken, would you like to announce the SGC tomorrow?
Okay, Venerable Yanqing will be sharing in the SGC tomorrow at 1:30. The talk is about 走向幸福与解脱. So it's towards happiness and liberation or enlightenment. But it's in Mandarin. Yeah, it will be in Mandarin.
Okay, thanks Saiken, and thanks everyone for participating today. See you guys next time.
Bye-bye.
Everybody,
Bye.
bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.